Ladies and gentlemen, new copium just dropped. New copium just dropped. Huh? We got Acadiddy, Acadiddler, Big Backademics, Snackademics. We got him today. Even though Drake's team went to court and has to amend the botting claims and take the botting claims, and Kendrick just beat the botting claims, not like us. We got the diddler. And he's dropping some new copium, but you know me, I'm here to debunk it every time, because the era in which these people got to just run rampant and say their dumb narratives is over, because guess what? We protect hip-hop culture. Link in the pinned comment. Go grab it. I'm sending personal thank you videos to everyone grabbing for the next 6 days. Let's talk about potential botting, and we're going to debunk a lot of this. Let's go.
Let's talk about Kendrick. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, chat.
Let's get into it. I've
heard
like this guy.
Kendrick isn't that either until recently. I heard this is a story told to me. Could be wrong. They said Kendrick wasn't into.
You would think academics already having somebody talk about Kendrick's botting and it being a lie would not just run rampant and say things that he's just hearing, because clearly your sources aren't as good as you thought they were. But anyway, back to Alvin and all three of the chipmunks put together.
The bottom, until him and his team thought the only way Drake could be that big, Drake had to be botting, so they start botting. It's like saying, ain't no way this nigga that smart, he got to be cheating, so you start cheating too. You know what I'm saying? Or you're in baseball and be like, ain't no way this motherfucker is doing all this without some steroids. Let me go get the steroids too. Okay? So
mind you, he doesn't even know if this is true. And I'm going to give... we'll talk about this tweet from Curious George up here, where it's Kendrick went from 110 million monthly listeners down to 98 million listeners after the recent Spotify purge of bots. This is such gaslighting. This is such... That's why it went down? I'll show you something. About that. Drake hasn't changed, really. It was 78 million before Spotify started deleting bots. Oh, so Drake's numbers never fluctuated. Okay, I'm sure. Kendrick has 98 million listeners, but only has 38 million streams daily. Looks like Spotify has a lot more bots to delete. Mind you, this is after they beat the botting claims. So but that's what I'm saying. These two... George and Acadiddler are going to spiral out of control the more they keep losing, because they have nothing to hold on to. Because at this point, Academics is talking about a secondhand story he heard from some random person who he's already been wrong about Kendrick's Spotify activity. So let's get into it.
I want to be honest with y'all. For what I've heard about Kendrick, he's an off-the-muscle artist too. But they started spicing up songs during the battle, and they've continued after. Now, nothing crazy. Like,
even though his biggest album is from before this, battle. Damn is still his biggest first week. You gonna just leave that out? No, they started botting now, not in his most successful stuff. Right this second. Really, nigga? You would have been better off throwing this live for damn. Like, really? Really? Okay. You know this isn't his most successful first week, right? Even with these claims of numbers supposed to be bought for singles and stuff, right? Okay. You know Drake's team has to take that out the lawsuit, the bot stuff, right? Okay. All right. This is why it's important for me to cover stuff like this, because they're trying to spin narratives, even when legally it's like...
A crazy thing would be like you're giving it 2 to 3 times what the real streams are. Nothing crazy. I'm hearing like 10 to 15% scaled over time. Okay? Which means, let's say you see a Kendrick song, I don't know, say Squabble Up. Like, I don't know, again, I'm going off of just what I'm hearing.
Where you've already been, mind you, warning, he's already been wrong on this specific thing before. He's literally already, he had somebody come on his chat be like, yo, I know about Kendrick's botting on Spotify. I know that. Turned out to be a complete lie. And now he wants y'all to believe, because I don't believe anything that comes out of Theodore from the Chipmunk's mouth. He wants you to believe now. No. I was completely wrong and following lies back then, but now trust me. Now I'm right. And who's your source? Some nigga.
Let's go to, what should we type in? Kendrick. Yeah, let's go to Kendrick, right? All right, squabble up. Squabble up at 325 million. Now, granted, I think this is the actual number because I think Spotify deleted a bunch of fake streams, which some people claim Kendrick was part of it. But let's say they say 400 million.
I have not seen anything where it said Kendrick was a part of it. I actually seen things where it said Kendrick's number. Nobody in rap's numbers really moved. But this nigga Academics is a liar, bro. This nigga is, no matter the jokes of people thinking who's on what side and being paid off, he is quite literally an agent of OVO. He don't even try to hide that. This would be like getting Trump news from only Fox News. Like you never ever even back check anything they say. It's like, yeah, they're incentivized to lie. He's incentivized to lie. He's incentivized to push whatever is going to hurt Kendrick because it's tough for him out here. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's tough for Act right now and all the nasty niggas right now. You see Adam 22 going bankrupt on No Jumper. You see this niggas, if you pay attention to Act's numbers, he ain't got back on Twitch. I get it. You mad, but like, what, nigga?
Well, I guess I can't. Because we already seen the corrected shit. Okay, let's say this was the inflated numbers. If the inflated numbers was 325, it would be like 50, 60 million. Or maybe like 70. But they're not botting. Like, this is what I've heard about. Like, Kendrick ain't botting like half of his streams. He's botting about what's industry standard, a 10 to 15% fluff. And you do it in a scaled way to make the record look like it's taken off early on. And when more and more people get brainwashed because of that to listen to the record, you scale down the bottom. And
notice how he never comes out and says the stuff about Drake though. What about Hotline Bling? Those were all okay. I'm right.
Real people pick up the heavy lifting. That's what I've heard. Now, I don't want to center this just around Kendrick because I know Drake fans want to do that. There's a lot of botters in the game. There's a lot of botters in the game.
Let's say if he specifically says Drake.
Game. The big artists, and again, let me just take it off of Kendrick.
Let me see if he specifically says
the
Drake.
Big artists in the game, okay? If they're going to indulge in botting, it's going to be between...
Academics does this thing where he's and it only really works on stupid people, where he feigns non-biasness, but if you can read through the lines, there's nothing non-biased. You know why he specifically was talking about Kendrick and he would specifically pull up a Kendrick song, and then when it gets into the industry and the big people, he's probably not going to mention Drake's name because the point of this was to try to shit on Kendrick. And he's not going to say Drake's name because even though he goes, I know the Drake fans want to make it about Kendrick, so then talk about Drake. What about Drake? Go to his specific numbers. Go tell me how much a specific percentage is being botted. You're not going to do that, are you? Because he's trying to feign. So when someone calls him out like that, no, I didn't just talk about Kendrick, nigga. You only said him specifically. But I could be wrong, so let's go.
10 to 30%. They're not doing more than that, okay? They're not doing more than that.
Let's see if he brings up Drake.
Now, do I think Spotify should let us know who's doing this? Yes.
Apparently you know, don't you? Oh, my
I don't think
gosh.
Drake. No, I don't think Kendrick. Not Kendrick. I don't think Cardi.
You hear that Freudian slip?
I don't think Cardi bots. It don't make no sense.
Is he going to speak
never
about
know.
Drake? Is he going to talk about Drake?
Chat, you really never know.
So he says Cardi, he
But I
says
don't think he
Kendrick.
bots at all. I don't think he bots at all.
What do you say? I don't want to
You
be
never
what?
know, bro. But I don't think he bots at all. I don't think he bots at all.
Look at the pain in
Ironically,
his eyes.
supposedly Drake was the
Oh, hold on.
supposedly Drake was the number one streamed artist in the month of March. So if you're wondering, the most streamed artist on Spotify, and I don't know if this is minus the bots, but Drake narrowly beat out Kendrick Lamar. He beat out Cardi.
Yeah, so this is a big feigning of non-biasness when it comes to Drake and the botting thing. He's gonna tiptoe. I don't know if this is with the botting minusing, but he knows that the squabble up views is after they remove the bots, or he knows that Kendrick lost a certain amount. Like, bro, I don't want to listen to this nigga anymore because he's just a loser. But let me show y'all something, right, about how monthly listeners work. Just to speak on this part where they said Kendrick went from da 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 da. Monthly listeners is a very fickle metric to use about rappers. What it really only covers, as someone who drops music, is who is dropping music more recently, right? I'll look at it like this. Okay, let's look at it like this. All right. Right here, according to Google, it's difficult to pinpoint exact numbers and trends. I googled Eminem monthly listeners because I knew everybody's fluctuates. Without real-time data, Eminem monthly listeners have fluctuated. That's all I'm pointing this out for, right? Right now, Eminem has 69 million monthly listeners, right? But Eminem had 73. I don't know if y'all can see it. Can y'all see this? Hold on. Eminem had, oh, y'all see it right here. 73 million monthly listeners at one point. So are you claiming that his loss of monthly listeners from 73 million to 69 is botting? Or is it unique to, is this only happens to Kendrick? Really? Or is this something that's just, that's what I'm saying is what Akadiddy and what the Akadiddy page is doing is trying to hope you guys don't really look into it. But monthly listeners fluctuate like, there's one point where I had like, my monthly listeners, I don't know, where they're like 20,000 or something. Then I dropped one freestyle and it shot up to like 50. So it really just means who's listening to you currently, and if you're dropping new music, you should be on top. So Kendrick being on top with album, and even when they're saying Drake is the most streamed in the month of March, you're competing with an album that dropped a year ago. That's still an L. That is a nasty L because you barely squeaked by. That's not even how those numbers should work regularly. It fluctuates. So, all right, if you don't believe that, let's go to somebody else's. Let's go to Drake's. In recent comparison, Drake's experienced a 13% decrease in monthly listeners on Spotify, while Kendrick saw a 42% increase according to X Hip Hop by the Numbers. A 13% decrease? Does that mean 13% of his numbers are botted? Hold on. Let's look at this. Or 13% of his numbers before the battle were bought, or maybe more. As of March 20th, 2024, Drake had 84 million monthly listeners. He went down to 74. That is 10 million. They're not going to tell you that, though. They're going to just try to use that number to act like, to try to discredit Kendrick. And just so y'all know, if y'all want real coverage of how things work, I'll cover it. If Academic says something, come here because I'll probably debunk the stupidness. Monthly list is not a metric that you look to determine really much more than who is dropping currently. And Drake should have more monthly listeners than Kendrick because he just dropped an album. But it is what it is. You know, we watching the party die, and they're gonna go out with kicking and screaming. So it is what it is. Yeah. Akadiddy, you can go back to Club Penguin or Neopets. It's okay. We got it from here.